The Toyota GR Corolla never had to exist. It's a 300 horsepower, 3-cylinder hot hatch that only comes with a 6-speed manual transmission. And it's exactly the kind of car most people aren't buying anymore. Cars are out. SUVs are in. Manuals, those are out. Automatics are in. And 3 cylinders? This is America. Aren't 3 cylinders for tractors? The GR Corolla isn't for most people. It's for me and you, and we're lucky to have it. This is the 2023 GR Corolla Core, and I'm Alanis King. Let's take it for a drive, and stick around for the end of this video to get this hot hatch's full report card. Before we get to the GR Corolla, I want to tell y'all about HomeField Apparel, my first ever partnership for this channel. HomeField is known for its super cool, officially licensed collegiate apparel, like the University of Texas shirt I'm wearing right now, and they are going all in on motorsports this year. NASCAR drops, IndyCar drops, and they look so good. If you're checking out the HomeField website right now and you want 15% off your first order, you can use code ALANIS24 at checkout. HomeField is calling this year its Season of Speed, and they're gonna drop all kinds of really cool vintage style motorsports apparel. We're gonna put the drop schedule on the screen so you can see it and see what applies to your interests. I think this is so cool because we are going through a renaissance of vintage motorsports fashion right now. And all I want is modern motorsports apparel in vintage style, and HomeField is doing that. It's so cool. Everything looks really, really good, and I cannot wait to wear it for y'all throughout the year. And if you're interested in it, please go check out the HomeField website and use code ALANIS24 at checkout for 15% off your first order. It really helps the channel, and it really helps me, and it really helps HomeField, and I appreciate you all so much. Thank you. We can't discuss the GR Corolla without first discussing the GR Yaris. GR stands for Gazoo Racing, and the GR Yaris debuted as a tiny, turbocharged 3-cylinder fireball with 257 horsepower. Toyota said it was a homologation model born to win the FIA World Rally Championship. Homologation specials exist to give race cars a tangible link to road cars, and they're exactly that. Special. Most car enthusiasts thought the Yaris was perfect, except for the fact that it wasn't coming to America. In 2022, Toyota introduced the GR Corolla, a hot hatch for America. It debuted with a 3-cylinder turbo, 300 horsepower, 273 pound-feet of torque, all-wheel drive, a physical handbrake, and only a 6-speed manual transmission. Finally, America got its peppy little prize. I think Toyota is and has long been the most versatile automaker on the market. There's the indestructible Hilux truck, the lush Century chauffeur car, iconic sports cars like the Supra and the Lexus LFA, and so much more. Even in an American market where automakers could get away with producing exclusively SUVs, Toyota makes a modern Supra, a GR86, a manual off-road Tacoma, and a GR Corolla. These cars aren't volume sellers. Toyota doesn't need to build a GR Corolla for anything other than enthusiast headlines, just like Toyota didn't need to build a manual rental spec Corolla up until a couple of years ago. But I'm really glad Toyota does, in an era when iconic sports car nameplates like the Mitsubishi Eclipse are being rebooted as crossovers and SUVs. It's so cool to see a car that's just focused on driving experience. The GR Corolla comes in 3 trims: the Core, Premium, and Circuit Edition. The Core starts at $36,500, the Premium starts at $40,000, and the Circuit Edition starts at $45,000. Core might sound hardcore, but it really just means you get the basics, stuff like fully cloth seats and fewer convenience and appearance features. Toyota originally chose a 3-cylinder engine for the GR Yaris because it's lightweight and compact. And when that car debuted with 257 horsepower, Toyota said it was the most powerful production 3-cylinder engine. The GR Yaris has since gotten a couple of power bumps to 300 to match this GR Corolla. And believe me, the power works. You will see when we drive this car later. And you might be wondering, Alanis, why didn't Toyota just bring the GR Yaris to America? Wouldn't that have been easier? Well, the Yaris got discontinued in America in 2020, meaning there wasn't a product lineup for that car to fit into. Speaking of fitting into things, how many Alanises can fit into this GR Corolla's trunk? This is my favorite test ever, and I have to remove everything from my pockets before I do it. And then we contort ourselves. I am not wearing contorting pants, so this is not going to be very fun. I might need a little help getting this down. Ugh. I'm in! It fits! Probably like 1 1/5 of Alanis. Welcome inside the GR Corolla, where when you first step into this car, you realize that it's a lot simpler than you were expecting it to be. In my field of vision, there is simply not a lot going on, and there is a lot of this 2010 style hard black plastic. It's just not what I expected from this car, especially because hot hatches start at a higher price point anyway. This car starts at $36,500. I just expected a little bit more in my range of view than what I see. And I think this really could have been fixed by upping the interior quality a little bit, upping the quality of these hard black plastics, and also putting some contrast stitching in here. The only contrast stitching that exists in this car is this light gray stuff on the steering wheel and the seats. But where's the red? Where's the color? Where's the things that take my eye around this vehicle? There's just not a lot of it. There's no armrest or center console, which on one hand I can kind of understand. If you're going wild and you're shifting and doing your thing, maybe you don't want a center console in the way. But also, it's kind of nice to rest your arm on a center console, and there's no storage, and it just feels like a part of the vehicle is missing, which is very, very odd. Because this is the base model, we also have cloth seats, and I do not mind the seating position of the driver's seat, but the passenger seat feels a little too stiff. It feels like it's sitting up and also leaning forward a little bit, so it's not super comfortable in my opinion. There's also cloth on the door card, which makes me feel like I would just rip it, especially if you're someone who wears bracelets. Maybe you would catch a bracelet right here and you could just get snags and tears in this, and I don't think that is the best placement. This is a base model interior, but also what does base model mean when the base model costs $37,000 or with options $40,000? I think overall, I would consider a higher trim of this car. I am a very cheap person, but I do think it is worth it to have a slightly better interior quality because this Corolla Core does suffer from the quality of what I'm looking at when I'm sitting in it. Let me just scooch right on in here. Welcome to the back of the GR Corolla, where again, there is just a lot of cloth going on back here. I have not a lot of legroom. I'm 5'8.5", and I kind of feel like I'm in economy on a flight, but that's to be expected because this is a small car. It is also such a weird view to look right here and have nothing in the way because there is no center console. As a backseat passenger, you don't have a lot of headroom. If you were 6 foot or taller, you would be like this, yikes. You also don't have vents, but you have a USB-C port and you have cup holders, but it takes a lot of work to get them down because there's not a pull tab right there. Now, I will say that this back seat, when I think about the 10th generation Civic, the Type R based on that car, this back seat is actually a higher quality than that car because that back seat feels kind of like a flat bench memory foam pillow. And I don't feel like that back seat is going to last very long at all if you have people back there. this back seat feels a little stiffer and a little sturdier, so I will give the Corolla that. The headliner kind of feels like felt that you would get at a craft store. You do not have any storage back here. You don't have storage pockets on the back of these seats. And I think the scariest part of the back seats is that, check that out. Oh my goodness, if you got back here and you were wearing a backpack or you had something sharp on, you could easily just slice into that. And that would not be a fun conversation to have with the owner of the car. All right, let's drive the GR Corolla. And I put it in sport mode for the first time because I have been driving this car around town. And when you put this car in sport mode, it goes from having a rounded tachometer to having a little bar that fills up. It's so cool and feels so special and official. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to drive this car. I have heard nothing but good things about this vehicle. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This car really does feel like it just perfectly slots into the grooves of the road. Oh my goodness. And you know, we were talking about the seats earlier, and I said the seats weren't that great from a commuter car perspective. If you're just commuting in this car, seats don't feel that awesome. When you're going into these corners, the seats feel pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. They hold you still. These bolsters really, really hold you. And you feel extremely planted within the car. Oh my goodness. I mean, the amount of just adrenaline and joy I feel driving this car around right now is enough. It feels so special to be in this car. I'm driving it and I feel like I'm in a commercial for the GR Corolla, right? I feel like I just feel like I'm in a rally video game, and I'm in like one of those POV cams for a rally video game, and I am just rolling, right? Like just going, because oh my goodness. The sounds this car makes, the size of it, the way it feels going into the corner, the way it just hugs every single corner, it just makes you feel so alive. I mean, I don't care about the quality of the interior anymore. I don't care about any of this car's flaws. I don't care how much it costs. I feel amazing. I feel amazing in this car. Oh my goodness. Oh, wow. And I think the really cool thing about this car is, you know, some hot hatches and some sports cars, the power gets applied in a very linear fashion, okay? It just, in this car, it feels very yappy. It just like bites with its acceleration, and it just makes you feel so adolescent and just so young, honestly. I mean, a linear power curve is great, right? And when you apply the power and it's like a big bark, right? But this is like a little yap, and that in itself is so special. It just bites forward. Oh my goodness. The shifter is just, it's notchy, right? It notches up and it notches down, and it just, oh, wow. I would say before I drove this car, the one complaint I had heard from people was the fact that the clutch pedal was a little weird. And I do get that. And I get that especially in commute driving and when you're just going around town. The clutch pedal is very long, and it bites at the top of the pedal. As your foot is coming off the pedal, that is when the clutch bites. But also, when you're out here driving like this, none of that matters. And it also doesn't really matter when you're driving around town. I would say the only time when that would matter is if you're new to driving stick, you don't drive stick every single day, it'll probably catch you a little off guard the way the clutch pedal bites, but that's it really. Oh my goodness, just to downshift and upshift in this car, I feel so present, I feel so here. The sound of it is just so exciting. Oh my goodness, this car is just so exciting. It's exactly what you want from a tiny little hot hatch. Would it benefit from being a little bit cheaper? I think so. I think it would open it up to so many more markets. But also, it doesn't matter. This car is great. This car is so enjoyable. In first gear, this car is very bitey, very Second gear, the power application just feels so strong. It's, oh my goodness. Third gear, the sound. Wow. Oh my god, everything feels so visceral in here. It just, wow. To truly understand the GR Corolla, you have to take it out onto a whippy, twisty, fun road. And when you do that, you will understand that this car is planted. This car keeps you in your seat. This car is the visceral experience you want from driving a hot hatch. And it doesn't matter, none of the flaws matter anymore. The interior doesn't matter. The seat quality doesn't matter because the seats hold you in, they do their job. And all of your faults and complaints about this car just completely disappear because at the end of the day, this car does its job so well. It does exactly what you want. And that is the joy of a hot hatch. Not the interior quality, not the anything. It's how good of a hot hatch is it? And this is a really good hot hatch. Wow, I am just in that corner. I am one with the corner. Oh, what a car. I get it. I hope you get it too. Now it's time for Alanis' report card on the 2023 GR Corolla Core. The interior of this car gets a D. There was so much potential, and all we got was hard black plastic. The exterior is a solid B+. It's an A+++ infinity for a Corolla. But at the end of the day, it is still a Corolla. Performance? Give it an A-. It's a great car. But the clutch pedal is a little weird. Value? I'll give it a B. The hot hatch market is a little more expensive than other cars, but also, for this price, I would have expected a better interior. Would I take this car on a road trip? No, I would not. And overall, I give this car a B. There is some room for improvement, but this is the right car for a lot of people. And maybe it's the right car for you too. I remember when the GR Yaris debuted and everyone I knew was so upset because it was another cool car and another business plan that completely shunned US shores. Then the GR Corolla came around and we as Americans got way more than we ever deserved because at the end of the day, we just don't buy cars like this. I am so glad I got to drive this car, and I really do love it. And it doesn't have to exist, but it does, and that makes it super special. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave me a comment, like it, or maybe even subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you next time.